Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What is the show that you're doing? What is that about?
It is about
Business meeting time.
empowering everyday people,
Can't see you guys, y'all dark.
and also just highlighting everyday people that do extraordinary things to help serve and bring out the best in other people.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And that's awesome that you guys are actually creating a show about that. I don't see nothing about that stuff on TV.
Well, you know,
No, you won't either.
Yeah.
my why is, this is my way of paying it forward. Several years ago, I lost my oldest child to an accidental drowning, and I had fallen asleep when he let himself outside. And so I lived with this guilt and this blame. And I was very suicidal for a time. And a woman wrote me a letter. Her name is Teresa. She lost her daughter at the age of 6. I can tell you everything about the letter, and I have no idea who this woman is. I only know her first name is Teresa. And in this letter, on an evening where my son was picked up by my husband, who left after we lost our son, I was in the house for the first time alone, and I was probably as broken as I can ever recall being. And I was writing out the letter saying goodbye because I had the plan to end my life. And I reached for this letter that I didn't even notice before, and I opened it up and I read it. And in it, she told me about her experience. But then she said, and she like in bold print, she said, but if you choose, life can still be beautiful, and there is joy, and you can live your best life, even despite this tragedy. And it shocked me. Like, it literally shocked me, because I thought that had just ended. Those possibilities were no longer an option for me. And she changed my thinking and gave me just enough hope that I changed my plan. And I decided I was going to live. And I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I believed that I could find joy. I didn't know how long it would take. And it took years. And there were, these milestones and then setbacks. But I learned so much, and now I want to share what I've learned, and I hope that I can be a Teresa for someone that I may never meet. And so that's why I created the show.
Thank you.
And you're probably unaware that you already have been the Teresa to a lot of people.
A lot.
You know what they say? There's like everyone knows 6 people. Did you ever hear about that?
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, even you living, right? Just walking around, you being here, these people that are sitting here, your vibration, your energy, your tone, everything.
Frequency.
It impacts people on a very deep level, right? Subconsciously. Because like when you were younger, a lot of the stuff that makes you a man or a woman now, right, is what you carried from when you were younger. And the same thing as you get older. So that's very cool that you've used something like that. Because a client of mine's, even young kids that watch my stuff too, it's very cool to be able to receive something from them.
Yeah.
And then understand that just your presence as a being, right? And the fact that you were strong enough to rise out of that changed something. That's like a success within itself.
Something else too is look how much
Thank you so much.
your son that passed away has changed people's lives through you, and the legacy that you have created because of him in that tragic moment. How many people have been helped by this, and the positive changes that have happened to you because of it. And even though you couldn't see him at the time, right, because you were suicidal, now look at you. And you still carry that banner for your son, and you can't discount the fact that he's got this legacy now that's helping people because of you and through you.
I agree, but I think the greatest transformation for me came with realizing he's not gone. He's just not physical. Mm-hmm. He lives on. I feel like, do you know how like when somebody walks up behind you, you can feel them? And you know it's them, like their energy, you just know, like you know if it's your mom or your dad, you just know. I still feel that. I feel him so like clearly. He's not tangible, but he's accessible. And he is the reason that I am still here, and he is the legacy that I will leave. I'm doing this because he was my son, and the love that we had.
Can I say something to you?
Sure.
When I first met you, you could barely talk about this.
You're right. It was very emotional.
But now it's a glow.
You know, because I think I was afraid at first. My voice was developing, but I didn't really have, it wasn't mine yet. I had a lot of people telling me what it should be, how it should look, you know, how I should market it. And I didn't want that. I just wanted to be truthful.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to
That's
tell
why it's
my
a- that's
story
why it's a
my
go-to.
way. And once I stopped trying to fit this mold and just be me, everything became easy. And like you were saying, when you're authentic and you're genuine, it flows. And when it's forced and like manipulated, that's when it loses.
I say to my friends, it's like you can't market God's purpose. You can't. You can manufacture a bunch of bullshit, but the thing is, like, when it comes down to it, if you lost your son, right? You can't create something out of that where it's like, wow, we can sell all this or do that. Like, that's something that people can like feel because it's human, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why you glow, because you're connecting to something that actually has nothing to do with you. It has to do with everybody.
I
know?
agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree
So
with you.
This is well
I
said.
need this video.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, this is good stuff.
This is great stuff. And Tanny has an amazing story because she has this beautiful, artful way of taking like life and in life, and it's like,
Who's getting the hot tea?
I don't know.
I love how like it went like deep.
You gotta make a tea.
Deep into the tea.
I love it.
I find a lot of inspiration from Tanny just in the few conversations that we have had, because she has this way of taking life's experiences, especially from the female perspective, and making sense of your failures, like loving your failures, like loving the fact that you can screw something up so brilliantly, like you're the like you just really just you know, but nobody to hear that was so in a way healing, because I think as women we're very hard on ourselves and we're perfectionists, and we always are maybe a little too self-critical, and she has this beautiful voice of loving, like be loving to yourself first so that you can love others. It all starts from within. And so I think that the fact that we're all around this table is not a coincidence at all. I love this. You know, I love how the universe conspires to bring us together to, you know, and what can come from this day is who knows?
I know, what are the-
gravity well is?
I don't know, what are the
Look
odds?
who the gravity well is. You are the gravity well that's brought everybody to this table today.
I didn't expect to even be here today. Look at and how inspiring.
I need
Well, let's kind of just declare right now that we won't let today be the end. Let it be the beginning of something that we can join together to do, to
I didn't
create,
ask for anything.
and really bring
Did you want water
about
too?
positive
Can I get a
change.
Sprite?
Yeah.
no, yeah.
I would love that. I would love to work with you guys and have you on the show and just contribute to or support you in what you're doing.
You know, I what you brought to my attention too is kind of inspiring, because this past week, I did my first ever real life suicide assessment. I'm trained by the state, but it's usually for youth. But today, with the client, I had to do they tried to commit suicide, and I had to do my first real one. And they're okay now, but it was so scary. So, but I feel like I was that person for a reason, to talk to this. It's a transgender, going through a lot of issues, but being able to be in that position where I was able to walk them through it, and they're okay, and now I can help them with their career and blossom. I'm so excited for that. But it kind of made me feel like that training was for a reason too.
Can I dissect you for a minute?
Sure.
Was this somebody you knew personally, or was it just
Personally, a client.
okay? Because you said it was scary, and so to me, what was the fear? What were you afraid of at this moment? That's the dissection I want to go.
Because they were in Atlanta at the time, so it was over the phone versus I was trained to do it in person. So I felt like I wasn't really in control of the situation, because in person you could take them to ESU or restrain them if needed. But in this situation, it was over the phone where I had no control really.
And,
And
you,
that- and
you
that-
were mentioning this person is transgendering.
Yes.
I have my now nephew has transgendered, and it's a very difficult process. And he faced many moments where he was suicidal, and I think for him the greatest comfort came from finding other people that were going through that experience. He now he just finished doing a book called American Boy. And he's talking openly about his, his journey from female to male.
Okay.
And if your friend would like someone to just talk to, I would love to connect. Is it him or her?
It's a him now,
Okay.
but he's 19 years old. Young.
Yeah. He was 20 when he had his first surgery.
Oh, okay.
So sounds like they might have a lot that they can share.
Yeah.
And just support each other.
I would love that.
Yeah. I'd
Because
be
this is
happy.
a client that's going to be in my life long term,
Yeah.
career-wise. So I need to get him the best, support as possible. And he's African American, so, there's a lot of things in his past, childhood trauma, stuff like that I'm working with. But as far as transgender, I don't have experience with anyone like that. So all the support or advice I could get would be.
It's interesting. I tend to look at people as people, not as gender or race. I see them as these spiritual beings that.
What's up, Kobe? Yeah.
Except Kobe, yeah.
I'm white.
He's right. Yeah.
Look, they're confused, man. Don't worry.
I didn't hear it.
So one of the greatest, I think, gifts that we give each other is just openly accepting and loving a person for who and what they represent and bring.
Yeah.
And when you can do that, there's so much healing that comes, because I think their greatest fear is rejection. They, at least in my experience, that was the greatest fear, was that he would be completely isolated, and that would be the most devastating thing, because he only has love in his heart for everybody, and the only person he couldn't love was himself, until he made the changes to become who he felt he was already.
Wow, that's amazing that he made a book.
Yeah, he's a part. Yeah, it's an anthology, so it's the journey of several transgender males. But yeah, it's called American Boy. It'll be coming out soon. So it's a pictorial. There's photographs of their journey and their story.
Wow.
So I think it's going to be a really powerful book.
I think it's interesting. I mean, I was raised up as a Christian, and I believe in God, God, universe, all that. I think it's all one. I think people manufactured a religion out of this to control people. That's just the reality, I believe. But when it comes down to people, some gay people I met are the nicest people in the world. Some Christians are the meanest. The reality is, you are I spoke about this when it comes to relationships. You speak about relationships, right?
Yes.
So my belief is that when it comes to gentlemen, right? Same thing as people. It's the intention of a gentleman. Because any man could open a door or buy some girl a drink or anything like that, right? But if the intention at the end of the night is to be able to get that one thing, and it's not to genuinely just be there for that person, and that's all, it doesn't matter. So like, if you have religion, but you got it with the wrong intention, if you have a voice and you're expressing it some way, or a body in some way, but you're not doing it with the right intention, it doesn't matter. This is why when you say people are people, I totally agree, because that's just their expression.
Yeah.
A gay person, that's just their love, And if you really think that you're gonna get to the universe of God's gate one day, and He's gonna say no because you didn't follow the book, it's you gotta follow your calling in your heart as a person, because we're all connected, right? And that's just that. There's no piece of paper or tangible
Right.
thing you can hold
Absolutely agree
that
with you.
it's because humans always grow too. So it's not like one rule is the rule for everything. I think the morals are. But the rules of human beings that's just, So I actually respect people, because that's more bravery any, traditional straight or Christian or anything. And that's hard for me to say on video because the people that follow me would be like, what are you talking about? But bottom line is your people, you know?
I really agree.
That's
I think that judgment is the most corrosive, insidious thing that I find here on earth. I think that what we believe about another person based on what we've been told and not what we've experienced really damages so much of the beauty in the world, or what could be beautiful in the world.
Yeah.
Because at the end of this stays behind, and the only thing that shows up at that pearly gate, if you will,
Yeah.
is the soul. So
I don't know. I've modified that a little bit myself because I'm very judgmental, but I'm not prejudiced, right? I'm with everybody here. We're all people,
right.
right? But I also judge, are you a good person? Are you a bad person? Right? We have to be judgmental about that because that's what keeps us from getting hurt. We have to exercise judgment. Judgment is part of our soul, part of our spirit, to judge what is good and bad and make those judgmental calls with people every day. Do I want to do business with him? I don't know. He's a person, so is he.
I don't
I
know.
think that's
Do
really
I want to
more
do this with my own
discernment. I
son?
think we use discernment to help us
Recommendation would be no.
engage life in a certain way, but I think it's judgment. Judgment is where you decide that you are right and someone is wrong, or you are better and they are less than.
Or they're doing something that,
Their religion, my religion is correct and yours is wrong. I think those judgments need to be re-examined because I see things, really, it's spiritual. I mean, I think that's the truth.
But are those judgment calls or prejudices? Right? If I disagree with your religion, it's a prejudice of mine as a preference to my religion over yours. I can judge
can
you
see
because of that, right? I can say,
can
well,
see your
she's
point.
Jewish and I'm not. Those are preferences, right? And a prejudice to my religion compared to yours. That doesn't mean that yours is wrong and mine is right? Because that would be a judgment call. And I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't care what you practice, right?
Right.
And we just happen to be on similar wavelengths. But where it comes to judgment, it's making these decisions of, am I going to do something that's going to harm me or something that's not going to harm me? That's where judgment is based in. If I decide to have lunch here today, I'm making a judgment call. Am I going to eat here and is it going to be safe? Or am I going to go eat someplace that I know is safe? Right? I'm making a judgment call every day. We all,
I can see your point, for
Right.
sure.
preferences is different, right? I prefer to eat at a place that I'm familiar with because I know it's safe, right? And that's what we do with our religious beliefs. We follow them and make these preferences that put us in our little comfort zones, and we love to share it. Some of us don't like to debate it, right? Because we're unsure of ourselves. None of us here today are that way, which is really kind of cool because we're all part of the same fabric here, and it's really neat.
Well, I think it all comes down to how you're raised, right? I mean, like what you're conditioned from the beginning
Sure.
is it. If you are born in India, if you're born in Africa, if you're born in America, it's like people that are in power, people that believe something that was just older than you, have said something over a period of time, and that one thing caught on, and over and over and over again, it repeats. But it comes down to choice, you know. If more people are woke up,
Do you guys have honey?
Yeah, I'll grab this one.
they can make choices for themselves.
Without tomato, Beverly Burger.
It's more
have
self-awareness. Is really,
tomato?
No tomato.
Yeah,
you know.
I ordered a Beverly Burger.
I don't. I can only speak
Somebody
for me.
got no
But
tomato, no pickle.
I'm sorry. What was it?
No tomato, no pickle, and a
Nope,
Beverly
that's not
burger.
me.
Oh wait, it's
I mean, it sounds like something I would order, but I didn't say that.
No,
Beverly
Beverly
burger.
burger. That's a different
You're
one.
supposed to get sliders.
I was supposed to get started.
I mean, I don't really care.
Those are coming. Barbecue burger.
Your voice is really
Hey, who
calming
ordered?
too. I noticed.
It's funny. I said, if I have a belief, I believe
supposed to
that
be
I
sliders?
am called to bring the frequency of peace. and hope and tranquility. That's
I mean, that sounds like
what
what I
I
wanted, but I didn't say
crave.
anything. You want it?
I crave
I'll
this
take it.
internal
I mean,
peace, this
that's what I
quietness,
wanted anyway. I was gonna
where I
say it
can
off anyway.
hear my own voice over the loud noise of the world.
Go.
I hope that's what I impart. That's my
That's
intention.
what I was going to do with mine anyway when I
is to
came.
bring
Yeah.
people a moment where they find rest and they hear their own voice. And
No,
they feel
that's what I'm saying. I was
accepted
going to take
and
them off
loved.
anyway when I came, so.
That's who I want to be in the world.
They read your mind, bro.
I know, that's what must happen.
Liam,
Chicken
what, you
Swiss.
trying to be like
It all
Kobe?
works out, man.
I'm
Chicken
sorry.
Swiss.
Yes, Shabana.
We're so.
No, I
Uh,
got a Shabbat.
no, that's not
Talking,
me.
we're not
I
Sorry. No. I thought it was.
All right, guys. We're getting into food mode. Everyone's got to figure out what they ate, so see you guys later.
What
Say
is
peace
this?
out, everyone. Bye.
Peace out, everyone.
Bye. See, he followed directions.
Yeah, that's. Thank you.